Hello, everybody. Welcome into Perspectives. I'm Sam Jones. I'm so glad you're here because we've got a heck of a show lined out for you today. I think you're going to truly enjoy it. So put the dog out and scrunch up close to the TV and grab yourself a sandwich because it's going to be worth your time. We're going to do two segments today. The first segment goes to the Tulsa Symphony, and our guest for the first segment, seated here to my right, is a gentleman you probably know named Keith Elder. And Keith, it's good to have you with us.
Sam, it's so wonderful to be here. Thank you for having me on.
First, a lot of folks may not be aware of your background. You're from Boston?
I'm originally from Boston. I'm a tuba player. Went to Indiana University, went back, worked for the Boston Symphony for 19 years. While I was there, I went to law school. I'm a lawyer. And
Really?
Yes. And then went off and I worked for the Detroit Symphony, the Eastman School of Music. And then I was in Aspen, Colorado at the Aspen Music Festival and School when board members from Tulsa came out and asked if I'd want to move here to Tulsa.
My gosh. Well, it's our gain.
Wow. Thank you.
It is our gain. What have we got coming from the Tulsa Symphony?
Wow.
Let's take some of the elements that the public might be interested in.
Sure. I will tell you, this season is a blockbuster. And it starts off September 9th at the ballpark, Driller Stadium, with an evening of the past decade of Disney. And so you can watch the Disney on the Jumbotron, the orchestra on the field. You can sit on a blanket on the field. And this is the second time this program has ever been done in the world. The first time was in Aspen, and I was part of that creation with Disney. And now we're bringing that here for the wonderful community of Tulsa.
Well, I got to tell you, Boston's loss is our gain. From everything I've heard about you and the Disney concept, my God, that could go on for hours.
Well, no, it's a 2-hour concert. It will end with fireworks. It's got the past decades. So it's Moana and Frozen and all the current Disney sort of movie clips. So each one is a clip in a montage from Disney. And so that kicks off on September 9th. And then we go into, in September 24, is our kickoff of our classic series at the Performing Arts Center. And we're doing Rachmaninoff's Second Piano Concerto and
Really?
Shostakovich's Fifth Symphony, which is, if you've ever heard the Rachmaninoff, that is one of the most romantic
You bet.
piano concertos out there. It is amazing.
You know what you're spinning here? Well, first of all, go back to the park,
Sure.
to the ballpark. And don't even hum it and don't say the name of it. Mm-hmm. But there's one song that comes out of Frozen that is it's a worm that gets in your head and you can't shake it for days.
I bet you'll be humming that as you leave the concert.
I knew it. I knew you were going to do that to me. I truly did.
Yeah.
When do you guys rehearse?
So we rehearse usually the week before the concert. We have, some of our musicians come up from Dallas. We have a lot of musicians that live in this community. I mean, community is so rich and
It is.
full of musicians, and it's such a vibrant arts and culture community. But then we move into October, Sam, where we're bringing in Bela Fleck, the great banjo player,
No
to
kidding.
come in and play a concerto with the orchestra that he has written himself.
You're kidding.
And so it's an opportunity to hear banjo with the Tulsa Symphony Orchestra.
Holy Toledo.
So, like I said, it's just a blockbuster after blockbuster after blockbuster. And then we move into November, and we have the concertmaster of the Chicago Symphony coming down to play with the orchestra. And
Well,
so,
why don't you pick a few lightweights?
well, this is what this community deserves, and this is what we're able to provide.
Yeah.
And then we go into the holiday season with Elf, the movie Elf, with the orchestra playing the music, and you can come and watch the movie and listen to the orchestra perform the entire movie on big screen in the PAC.
Oh, what a season you've lined out.
And so you can find out all this information at tulsasymphony.org. These are concerts that this community deserves. This is a community that really, it's a special place. I said I came from Aspen, and when they came and talked to me, I said, I have no desire to move to Tulsa. And they said, come to a concert. So my wife and I came down here. And I think those that live here for a long time don't realize the buzz, the energy, you know, the resources, the orchestra, the museums, the opera, the ballet. We as a community have things that major metropolitan areas don't have.
And what's interesting to me, and always has been since I moved here back in the late 70s, is big oil brought them in. This was, as you know, the oil capital of the world for years. Oil wells everywhere. And yet the people who encouraged and developed and promoted the oil industry also had an interest in the arts. And they brought in opera, and they brought in symphonic music, and they brought in this performer and that performer. They could afford to back then.
But what that does, Sam, is that brings a community together. Music unites a community. And that's what this is about. Come to the ballpark and sit amongst thousands of people watching Disney and experiencing something together. When we do, Sam, when we do this, we're experiencing something on our phone as an individual. When you come to a concert, you're experiencing the same thing with a mass group of people, and it's connecting and bringing people together.
You know, I know when I go to a movie, for example, they compensate, well, compensate's the wrong word, but they will substitute volume for quality in terms of music. And sometimes it hurts your ears, it's so loud, but that doesn't mean the quality of the sound is good.
So what we've done, like for our Disney concert, is that the sound engineer that we have that has designed, he has specifically designed the sound for the Disney concert, is my old sound engineer with the Boston Pops. So he's coming in, and this is somebody that travels the world working with orchestras all over, and he's coming in working with this orchestra for this community.
Are you the one that makes all the decisions about what's going to happen every season?
Well, what's unique is that I'm not the one, the organization is the one. Where this orchestra is very unique because we have board, staff, and musicians that we all work together to come up with programming, to come up with what what are we going to do each year, and we do this together in a very consensus, sort of collaborative manner. We don't have a music director.
You know, that doesn't happen.
It does not happen anywhere else in the country. It's pretty amazing. And this community has that.
I hope nobody's dangled a carrot out there and said, we want you and your family to move to this city, because it seems to me as though what you have inspired and what you have nurtured and are currently developing on a regular basis is something this city needs.
It is something the city needs, but it is something that is wonderful to bring the city together. This city is on such a trajectory moving up. It's got such a great energy. We've got so much between, you know, the gathering place and all the other pieces that we have, that the Tulsa Symphony is part of all of that. I mean, an example, the rock band, the Eagles, they were here playing at the BOK. We were the orchestra that backed up the Eagles while they were here.
Really?
So when you think of classical music, this is not your typical orchestra. You're going to be able to hear Disney music, you're going to be able to hear music with banjo, you're going to be able to hear violin and piano. I mean, and then you'll be able to also hear with a movie. So we do a little bit for everybody.
Well, before I go to that big television station in the sky, there's something I want to try, and you may be the man I need to talk to about it. Years ago, there was a guy named Rod McEwen, who was an actor, who all of a sudden got into voice work, and then he got into narration, and then he got into poetry. And somebody had the wild idea of, let's put this to music. So they had a tour set up. McEwen would come in and sit on a stool. There'd be a music stand in front of him, and he would sit and read, interpretive reading, from different scripts. The orchestra would play with him as he worked, and it was a major hit. But there were some outside demons that got hold of him, and we lost him.
Right.
But nobody's ever done that since. And I want to try that someday.
Well,
down the road.
These are some interesting projects, you know, that in the past I've been able to work with that bring some narration and bring some exciting musical collaborations to the city. I mean, this city deserves it.
We've got about a minute, minute and a half left. In the time remaining, cover again, if you will, the shows that are coming and when,
Sure.
and how critically important it is for folks to broaden their horizons by coming to these shows.
So our first concert is September 9th, and that's at the ballpark, and that's Disney at the ballpark, and that's for everybody. Come on out in your shorts, your T-shirts, and watch the orchestra with movie. We open then on the 24th of September with our opening night at the Performing Arts Center. We have a gala dinner beforehand. There'll be a gala event afterwards, and that'll be the Rachmaninoff Second Piano Concerto and Shostakovich 5. Then we have October 8th, Bela Fleck with the orchestra. November 19th is the orchestra with the Concertmaster Chicago Symphony, and then Elf is on December 2nd. You can find all of this and more at our website at tulsasymphony.org, and that's where you can purchase tickets and look at all the details for everything. And we're also now looking for volunteers. So if you're looking to get involved, come to our
This would be the
website.
time to do it. Are you available for autographs?
No, Sam, thanks so much for having me on here.
Thank you so
It
much
is
for
great
coming.
to
And
be
will
able
you
to
do it
share.
again?
Oh, I would love to come back. Yeah,
I'd like
I
to
would
have you
love
back after the first couple of shows, and let's see how it went and see how the other two are going to go.
Perfect. That
Keith,
would be
thank
lovely.
you.
So, perfect.
You take care
Hey,
of you.
thank you so much.
Okay, my friend.
Cheers.
We're going to take a short break, and we'll be back with more right after this.